All right, I had to do a few more layers on that face than I had anticipated, but I think I'm close enough to proceed at this point. I'm going to do just a couple more things to the face before I move on. One is I want there to be a very definite shadow of the hat, the brim of the hat on the face. So I'm going to use a handheld mask and get a hard edge right there. Let me see, over the bridge of the nose. I'm looking for the right curve. Yeah, same one right there. A little bit darker. I want everything up in here to be quite dark. There we go. Now some of this face will take on a different look once I get the eyebrows and the hair and the teeth painted in. So let's proceed to that step. One of the big mistakes that people often make when they're doing a face, if they're not informed, we call the white of the eye, and that causes us quite a bit of mistakes because the white of the eye is most certainly not white. In fact, one general rule of thumb is that the white of the eye is usually pretty close to the value of the highlights of the skin or the light areas of the skin. I guess that would be on a Caucasian person. So I'm going to go ahead and put the frisket back inside the monocle. And I think what I'm going to do here is use some sticky notes so they don't have to replace all of this frisket right now. I just have to block off this much. And I'm going to use what I've been using as a flesh tone for my first pass on the white of the eye. Then the iris on this man, I'm going to make dark brown. And I believe I'm going to do the highlight in the eye with an electric eraser. If that doesn't get it light enough, I can come back with brush later. Let's take a look at that now and see what's happening. See how it looks when we take all the rest of it off. And don't forget there's still frisket here. I need more shadow up underneath the top eyelid. So let me do that. There we go, that's getting close. And then I'll do just a little bit of pink in each corner of the eye. Now, here's a good example of where I want to use some kind of mask. Just a touch. I think that'll do. Same thing in the other corner. Now let's work on the mouth just a little bit. One of the things I already did, you saw me a few minutes ago when I took that frisket off, is I erased some of the pencil lines because I don't want to have to work too hard to cover those up. And you may be wondering, well, what color are the teeth? And a good rule of thumb is whatever color the flesh tone is, that's sort of a starting point. If they're white, I mean, the way it is right now, it's way too cartoony. When I get some tonal value in those teeth, it'll look a little bit more realistic. I would call this illustration stylized, wouldn't you? It's definitely not realism. But it's definitely not cartooning either. It's a stylized rendering of a face. I definitely want to indicate that there's a shadow of his mustache or a shadow of his top lip on his teeth. And I think you probably noticed this, that in this man, when he smiles, this impish grin smile that he's smiling, his gums show. So his gums are going to be definitely pink in color. I think that'll do for a start. And to do his gums, rather than cut frisket, I'm going to try using a handheld mask, I believe in conjunction with the sticky notes. Okay, now I'm going to paint the dark areas between his teeth and at the ends of his smile, at each end. And again, there are a lot of different ways that could be done. I believe when we pull that mask off of there, that's going to be pretty close. There's one more thing I want to do with his teeth. I want to give some definition between some of the teeth. And we'll do that by using, I think, straight out of the bottle white. And using another handheld mask on each tooth, maybe 2 masks. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be at least 2 masks. I think Post-it notes will be able to do the job. that'll do for now. I could may come back and do some more on that later, but that's enough for the moment. Finally, I get to peel off some of the other frisket and see what this guy actually looks like underneath all these layers. He's got a monocle he's still wearing, and of course his hair and his mustache. Mix up some very dark brown for this man's hair.